Afternoon, folks, friends and family. For day 3, what we did was we learned how to strap into the motor with the motor on our back, how to operate all the buckles and adjustments and whatnot, and we were acquainted with feeling the thrust of the motor. That was done by standing still, getting a feel for the throttle, bending over so that the thrust is pointing upward, and getting to feel how much downward thrust that it provides, as well as standing up against a wall holding it to get a feel for it. We also walked forward with the motor engaged to get a feel for what proper posture is. So one of the things when you're taking off is you want to lean back so that the motor is helping you lift, well, the motor itself, but also propelling you forward, as opposed to if you're bent forward, then the thrust is going upward, which is pushing you downward and forward. So you want the motor to help you launch rather than hinder you to launch. So we got to feel what it feels like to lean into the power of the motor. After that, we did simulation. So they have like a swing set looking thing. You hook the motor to that, you get in it with it on, and they issue commands. You follow the commands, and this is in preparation for communication with the ground while you're flying. We do have the instructor's voice in our ears, so they want to make sure that they understand the commands and that they can also follow. If the comms go out for whatever reason, that you can follow ground hand signals. So I've got a few clips of that coming up right here.
So if you can't hear me, and I'm doing this, there you go, and as you feel you're comfortable, walking and leaning back, there you go, now hold that power, very nice, comes right up. Now you was going a little bit too fast. It was probably a little bit too much power because it was starting to make you run. I don't want you to, because I don't want you to lose your footing. So just nice, steady posture. And just find that nice point where you can lean into it and walk at a nice steady pace, okay? Nice, that's good. That's beautiful. That's what we're looking for. Beautiful. Very nice. Very nice. And come back to kill. There you go. Beautiful.
After the motor demonstrations, we did more ground school. Ground school today was in preparation for towing. Towing is a launch where you're attached to a winch as opposed to a motor, and they launch you in the air while pulling you forward. And this is so that you can get some air time without having to deal with motors and trying to have the weight of the motor on your back and have the throttle in your hand and trying to adjust both the motor and the throttle. So basically they showed us how that's all going to go down, what to expect, and how to follow the commands and what what to expect in terms of what they want you to do in order to land. After that, the weather cleared up and we got to go outside and do some more kiting. This actually was the most fun of all the things that we've done so far. Just going out in that afternoon and getting one of the smaller wings that's designed for kiting. The reason why you might want to use a smaller wing is that so you don't get carried away with the wind as much, and also it's easier to pull up off the ground, and there's just overall less effort that allows you to practice the controls. So when I was showing you the kiting before, it was a forward launch where you have the parachute, the paraglider behind you, and you run forward. The clip that you're about to see is the opposite of that, where you're facing it and you pull it up in front of you. The reason why you would want to do that is if you're trying to launch into wind that's faster than the glide rate of the glider, you will have to go backwards. And so you're facing this way and the glider is this way. You pull the glider up like so, but if there's a strong wind that carries the glider backwards, you're facing forward, so it's called a reverse launch. You don't actually fly like this, but what you do is you get the kite off the ground into the air, you control it, and then you can either stay there and kite and have fun or whatever, and if you were under a launching scenario where you have the motor and you're ready to go, you would then turn around and then take off like that. And so it's a skill to be used when there's a high wind scenario, when the wind's still good enough to fly but there's more wind. So that's what the video is following. Thank you.
Oh, got it. Get her, tame that girl.
Walk backwards. All we gotta do is back up.
Turn to my left.